Hello, everybody, and welcome to whatever day of the longing it is today. Today I am alone again. What place shall I visit today? Today, I'm gonna be on my way back home. Put up some of these things that I found from my time in the Hall of Eternities with Ben. Let's see what I got to talk about on our walk. As I mentioned in another episode, had one thing that I sort of made a semi-reasonable semi-script for, and that was the duality. And there's another word for this, the whatever. There's a spectrum between the desire in human beings to be special, and then on the other side, the desire that human beings have to want to belong and want to be normal. You can use plenty of different words for these concepts. Like, I think one easy way to think of the desire to be special is just the whole hipsterism sort of thing of like, oh, like I was there first, and I liked this thing before it was cool. That kind of stuff is really comes from that desire to be special and unique and all of that. So where does all that come from? These two sides, this dichotomy. Dichotomy was the word I was looking for. Well, when it comes to the desire to be special, it's people. Everyone wants to be free and know that they're free and that they can do what they want. And so I think a lot of the desire to be special it comes along with a certain sense of wanting to be free. And I guess you could also say the desire to see yourself as important. And one of the fears that leads people to want to be unique is because people are just scared of losing themselves inside of a collective of just one piece of sand on the beach, you know? And on the other side, for people who want to belong, they want to be accepted. They want to know that they are loved and that they are, like, it's a pretty much an evolutionary thing of it's scary to be to do something abnormal or seen as abnormal, because the fear here is of being shunned and having to fend for yourself alone. So that fear of being alone, and it comes from that. As for which one of these sides I'm closer to being on, I think pretty obviously I lean into the hipstery side, the I want to be free, I want to be special and cool, look at me, that kind of side. Everybody has a little bit of both of these sides in them, but it fall in different levels into these spectrums. Yeah. But one of the things I want to talk about with this is that I've thought about this a lot, and how in this whole like pursuit of trying to be like special and all that stuff, and like really getting down like a weird path on the internet, or like a path in some interest of mine that isn't super normal, and I want to just follow it and see where it takes me. And then I'll be like, where is everyone else? Why am I alone now? And it's like, well, obviously I have the fact that I have like the balls to then go back and ask that question when I was the one who made this decision in the first place, and I know that following things like this is going to lead me down a path of isolation and weirdness of that sort. And yet I ask the question anyway. And then I'll go and I'll try and like find people who are interested in these weird things, and it almost seems like it's like a counterproductive, these two sides of a coin that are fighting against each other and are working against each other and sometimes just making everything more difficult. Yeah, it's like a a war with two people each pulling on a rope. So with this sort of stuff, I guess it's more obvious that it's pretty obvious that you can lose your freedom if you're really trying to belong and you're really on that side of the coin that's trying to make sure that people accept you. That you can very easily be forced out of things that you would otherwise enjoy because you're scared that you won't be accepted if you show that you enjoy those weird or like abnormal things. So that's pretty obvious. But what a lot of people have to sort of stumble upon through like actually figuring it out on their own is that the exact same is true for trying to be special. You can easily lose your freedom and your enjoyment if you're pursuing that too heavily, because you'll find things that maybe are mainstream and you'll be like uncomfortable with enjoying those things when you otherwise would, out of this worry that you'll become one of the horde, one of the pack, and you'll lose your freedom, your individuality. And so because of that fear and that desire to stay special, you lose out on things that you might otherwise have really enjoyed. So it's really very similar situations, I feel like. I guess it's more ironic for wanting to be special because with that, one of the goals was to gain freedom, but you end up losing it. Whereas when you're trying to belong, it's kind of explicit that you're not even looking for freedom. So to lose freedom is kind of par for the course. So let's see. I've got some notes here for ways I wanted to take this conversation. This is not a conversation. This is me just talking at a computer in my house. So probably shouldn't call it a conversation. Already said all this stuff. So yeah, you can recognize logically these things happening. This like, oh, I was trying to indulge in like either like being special, like I was trying to really follow this path, and I now see how that could possibly lead me astray. You can recognize that logically, and that's one thing. It's all well and good. But one thing I've found in myself is no matter how much I recognize my own hipstery and like how dumb it is, some of my own hipstery ways of thinking, I can't stop myself from emotionally feeling that way. For instance, like with music or something, if I'm listening to a piece of music on YouTube or something, and I'll either feel like I like it or I don't like it or whatever, the second I see how many views that music has, dependent on the amount of views, my emotional state about how I feel about the song changes. It's not like it's like completely changes, but it's noticeable. If I enjoyed a song and then I see that it's got like 20 million views and I'm just late to the party, I do feel a noticeable disappointment, and then a little bit of disappointment in myself for being being that guy who's being that hipstery person. And the other way with if I wasn't super into a song, but then I see I'm like one of the first 100 people or the only 100 people to have ever heard it, and it's like nowhere else on YouTube. I can't help but like then it just feels a little bit better. And thinking about that, I was wondering if, well, like after all of that logicking and of not really working, I can recognize that like shouldn't I just be happy that if something I enjoy becomes popular, that means that more people are getting to enjoy that thing? Like there's all sorts of really good reasons that this is a stupid way to be. but I can't stop my emotional response to these things. And I was wondering if maybe there's a very similar thing going on for some people who, on the flip side of the coin, who have for a long period of their life been caught up in a desire to belong to a group or whatever, a culture or something, and then they understand logically how that's restricting themselves, but maybe they also fall sort of slave into that whatever they were previously, whether it be in that case their desire to belong, and that they're emotionally still have trouble enjoying things once they realize that they're not the normal thing that is recognized as something that they should be able to enjoy. Maybe everybody is just sort of a hostage to their feelings based on their beginning premise of whether they are desiring to be special or desiring to belong to something. Yeah. So, I don't know how to deal with that. I don't know if there's anything else to say about that, or any lesson really to be learned, besides that so many things are similar to each other, and there's so many like flip sides to coins of things that you might not have otherwise realized are connected or are similar. But yeah. Wow, it looks like I actually managed to go 10 minutes with that. I'm surprised, because I kind of thought that this would take longer. I mean not take longer, but this would go much quicker. Why is there's a big rectangle up here? Does that mean we're getting to the end? Or is this just glitching out on us? See, the rectangle started over there, and it's blockier down. Gotta find out what's at the end. Oh, it's just the doorway out. This will be a good place to end the episode. I guess I'll see you guys next time. Later.